I find this romantic feature film pretty interesting, not just, maybe on its own merits. And it certainly has some advantages, I would say, not just in the story, but the casting and the overall presentation. But I find the grounded approach to be very refreshing. And a story like this could act as a bit of, a societal lesson, so to speak, if you read the pitch right. But it sounds like, again, a very endearing film. You can tell by the poster, which I think is beautiful. I mean, perfect fare for a romance movie, but the color scheme, too, is just very engrossing. 10 Things We Should Do Before We Break Up, or if you want to go by the subtitle, I find this kind of cute, The Lover's Unbucket List. I mean, maybe there's more of a comedic edge to this. I imagine, though, again, based on the pitch, it's more romantic drama, but perhaps there's a spirit of levity, at least in some part, with this project. But it's got some talent. As I said, Christina Ricci's involved here, and she's got an extensive filmography. Many people are probably very familiarized with her name and many of the projects she's been in. Let's go ahead, though, and take a look at the pitch. And like I said, this is very grounded, and this is according to IMDb. I appreciate, perhaps, the lesson woven into the story here. After Abigail, a single mom of two, becomes pregnant following a one-night stand with Ben, the unlikely pair try to make a go for it. Doesn't that sound very sweet? You're looking at somebody in this type of situation, and I look at our present society today in terms of the many stories you hear from people perhaps that or people that maybe your friends circle or your family circles, who get into the situation where they get involved in a one-night stand with somebody they met, and then, long story short, as a result, and a consequence of said action, they become pregnant, right? I don't say, consequence in the sense of, like, the pregnancy being a bad thing. That's not at all what I mean, because I personally believe in the value of life. It's something it's a prized moral conviction within me. I admire a story like this, as presented again by the synopsis here that we just read for this film, that shows the value, perhaps, in raising a child. Because I know probably a go-to situation for many people, especially in our current day and age, with one-night stands is, it's really unfortunate. I don't mean to wade into this territory too much, at least in the context of this video. But again, this is the grounded parallel I see in terms of the moral lesson. I'm very much anti-abortion as contraception, or, abortion as a solution to a one-night stand situation. There's adoption for a reason. There's, strong moral conviction in me that I do value, the life of a child. I believe, from standpoint of a child developing in the womb, that baby is a baby. I like seeing a project that demonstrates, even if maybe it wasn't necessarily intended, the value, of life. And for a family, or for a mom, to raise a child even amidst a situation like that. And perhaps in that situation as well, for the guy, in this case, the male character Ben, to be involved in that child's life. And perhaps, again, not just in the context of romance drama, we see these two characters become even more infatuated with one another, as suggested, of course, by the heart, made of leaves. It's, again, such a beautiful image. But as a parent situation that both characters, again, are not relinquishing responsibility from that situation, that both characters are involved in, okay, we help the situation come about through our behavior, and we're going to act responsibly in how we deal with it. I think the idea here in terms of the modern parallel, and perhaps the lesson and what it can impart to people as we watch a very endearing romance film, I'm sure, it just really impressed itself upon me of just how strong this film might be. But let's go ahead and take a look at 10 Things We Should Do Before We Break Up. It is available to watch on Pluto TV, currently, Peacock, Freevee, that's Amazon's free service, I believe, Tubi, you can rent it on Prime Video. It's a pretty accessible release if you want to watch it. We'll see based on the trailers. I have 2 trailers queued up. We'll start with the shorter one. But that'll give it at least an extensive look, to see this film beyond just its overall premise and actually see the film in action.
New York, I love you, but you're bringing.
That's definitely, I would say, a more indie layout for the text. I'm assuming this is the setup.
New York, I love you, but you're bringing.
The romance hits off pretty immediately.
Like a rat in a cage, pulling minimum wage.
Like I said, romantic drama. That's more of what I see.
New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. New York. York, you're safer, and you're wasting my time. Our records all show you were filthy but fine.
See, it looks sweet.
But they shuttered your stores.
And the music choice is very endearing. It definitely gives it an indie feel, even with combining that with the film presentation.
The cops who were bored once they'd run out of crime.
Or if they thought of it, they could have put the leaves in here. Can you imagine if they'd done that? Like, oh, the leaves spiral or sparkle down into the shape of a heart. That would have been so funny if they'd done that. This is okay, though. It's sweet. That's beautiful. You know, like I said, it's great to see a story where, in the midst of a situation of like a one-night stand, which is, again, for I would imagine most people unexpected in the real world, it's really cool to see that, you know, both parents are accountable to their actions, right? And you don't just have, you know, it's not like Ben, because I mean, this would be a tragedy, you know, if a character like Ben, and this happens all the time, you know, in real life, where you'll have one parent that just, you know, isn't a part of the picture, right? And let's say in this case you have Abigail, or you can have, say, Abigail as an archetype for someone in the real world who's a single mother of, you know, 2 or maybe more kids, who gets involved with somebody, ends up pregnant, and is essentially left to, you know, manage their own life. It's great to see that in this case, both parents, again, act responsibly. I'm very happy in seeing the project went in that direction and just produced a work that could act in some way as influence for people in the real world to be like, well, you know, in this situation, maybe I watched this movie, which of course I believe is fiction, unless it was inspired by a true story, otherwise maybe they would note that. But I can look at these two characters and see perhaps the value in not, you know, leaving somebody alone in a situation like this, and prioritizing, you know, the welfare and the well-being of a developing child, right, in a home. And not only that, but you might also fall in love in the process. I mean, maybe it'll be a win all around for everybody. Anyway, that was the first trailer. Good, short and sweet, very indie presentation. This is the longer cut, I believe. And I think this one came out from Vision Films' official trailer. I believe the channel, but the studio behind this. Pretty sure. All right, let me give this a look. Okay. They're new companies to me. I haven't heard of Archstone or Vision before yet. She's a teacher, day-to-day grind.
Hi. So do you like to cuddle?
That's a forward question.
It's going to end already. 10 things. 10 things we should do before we break up. Number 1. Get to at least second base in the taxi.
Number 2, read the Sunday Times in bed.
Learn to surf.
Walk on a deserted beach.
Scream at each other.
Hold each other and cry.
Aww.
Kiss and make up.
Get married and have a child. I'm pregnant with your child, and
I was going to should have been the second step after the date.
I'm actually having a panic attack. So, tell me about yourself.
Oh, this is weird.
We really don't know each other at all.
This is Ben, and this is Wallace and Luke.
You like girls? I think I can.
It's very endearing.
It's obvious I'm head over heels for you, and I've just got to make you fall for me as well.
Are you sure that you want to do this? You're making a decision based on somebody you've known for 3 months?
Excuse me.
Sometimes you never predict the speed that love comes at.
Stuff in my place.
I don't know what's true or what you've made up.
You just want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
When I feel like I'm in something permanent or binding, I just want to destroy it. I really want this.
Well, that was effective in terms of the solution.
No, and I didn't sign up for what?
Well, what do you think you're gonna do?
I don't know what we're gonna do.
It's just a beautiful end image. Again, I would have loved leaves to fall down and mimic the poster, but okay, it's fine. It's really sweet. This is why I love films like this that are kind of in the indie vein. And again, commercial films are fine. I cover a wide range, of course. If for those of you who are familiar with this channel, you recognize that. I like to look at films, from every different perspective, whether it be, again, well-known or lesser-known. Because sometimes, and I found this, within the lesser-known film space, you find a lot of projects that express such prominence in their creativity and their original quality. And this is beautiful. I mean, it's a very endearing, I would imagine, lower-budget romance movie that has a lot, I would say, to teach in regard to lessons within the practical world, but it presents it in a very endearing style. And one that is, again, I would say, for any romance movie fan, would probably be right away very engaging. Even if, again, maybe for some people you're like, well, I tend to prefer the more, expensively produced movies. I like the smaller budget feel. It's very present in the way this trailer is edited and the way the overall film is constructed in its presentational look. I think it's quite endearing. Adding to that, the acting, which is pretty good, I think, all around in regard to the performances from everybody, including Christina Ricci. It really brings me in as a project. So I see, again, a lot of layers in how this could, work for a general audience, right? It's a very accessible romance film, not only in its presentation, but as well in the way you can watch it. There's many options that are, including most of those, free. But you also have a project that, again, fits very well into the romance drama world. And it's very relevant in terms of its moral lessons perhaps it can teach, in regard to the way we look at our own lives. And maybe perhaps when we enter a romantic situation, falling back to what we've seen through different stories that familiarize us into the romantic world and that type of process, right? What steps to take in a situation perhaps where not that I'd wish it, but if you were to enter into a situation where a one-night stand resulted in a pregnancy, what do you do in that situation, right? What is the proper means of action? I think the lesson here that this film demonstrates, even though, again, I will say marriage should be the second step after dating, and maybe some of the steps here of like, oh, we move in and all this other stuff, maybe they're a bit out of order in terms of like the ideal prospect. I don't just say that from a moral standpoint or my Christian faith. I say that from a practical standpoint. Like I've seen, I am very well aware of people that I know who have entered relationships where their lives, I don't say this in any way to be critic or be condemning, but they've taken the wrong order of steps, and it's like, the romance it usually falls apart. But a film like this, again, I think is very edifying. It's a beautiful presentation. I'm endeared by it. I think it's good. What are your thoughts, though, on 10 things we should do before we break up? I mean, it's a bit of a long title, but it's cute. And they did put that right into the film, so it works in terms of the script level and referencing the title there. I think it's endearing for those of you, perhaps, again, because I'm covering this late, you've watched the project by now. What were your overall thoughts? Hopefully no spoilers in the comments, please, but if you can refrain from that, if at all possible. But what were your general thoughts, and what was your opinion of it as a romance film in comparison to perhaps other fare within the genre? And maybe for newer viewers who perhaps didn't know about this film before, what did you think? Let me know down below, but this is an easy watch for me. I'm game. I'll probably watch this off of Freevee. Now I'm mixing up the streaming names. Freevee or Tubi. More than likely Tubi. I'm still kind of relatively new to Freevee, but I like it. I like romance films. This is an easily attractable one to me. I think it's good. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.